WASL, like the guy did. I think the WASL is one way of testing skills, and I'm not sure what Representative Hunter means by fixing math. But what I do know is that if we let kids graduate from high school that don't have the skills they need to perform in today's world and to compete, then we're lying to them, and I'm not okay with that. You know, in regards to delaying the WASL requirement for graduation, I have 3 sophomores that live on my street. And so I made it my business to, when I saw them and they were hanging out or playing basketball or whatever, I asked them, how'd you do? Well, 2 passed, 1 failed. 2 totally passed every section, 1 failed only the math section. And so I said to her, so what's the plan? Oh, I don't know. And I said, well, you know, there's summer school coming up. There's my school district is still looking. I know they have some independent study stuff you can do over the summer. They even have some computer stuff you can do. So what's the plan? Oh, well, I guess, I don't know. And there was, you know, no sort of understanding on her part. I said, you realize you probably won't graduate if you don't get this math requirement. Sort of glazed stare, but you know, that's a teenager for you. When the scores came out for the 10th graders, and I knew they were going to parents, we gathered all of the information from the school districts. I have Stillicum, Clover Park, UP, and some Tacoma schools in my district. And we gathered all the information about what's available in regards to remedial stuff for these kids for math. And I got my legislative assistant all ready to answer all the phone calls that came in, and I got 0. So I think there's an issue in regards to parents and kids not really believing us that we're going to do these forward standards, and I think that's a problem and we need to work on it.
Yeah. Troy Kelley.
Math and science are crucial components of our education system, not just because of the numbers, but because they really teach us. They say it helps you learn to learn. I think we use that same analogy with regard to history, and they use it in law school actually. That just the process helps you learn a lot more. Some of the specifics, I have great employees that don't have a financial background or don't understand numbers at all. So I see them day in and day out in trouble with, they don't understand why their mortgage payments are going up because they don't understand what an ARM is. They don't understand what an APR is. So it's very frustrating to see that. So I think that's something we need to work on in terms of actually getting it done. And then with regard to helping them learn to learn. One comment is not quite that bleak. My son's only 5, he's in kindergarten, and he absolutely loves math. He loves the books we have, it's amazing. And he just said the other day that sometimes when he's really good, they let him do math at recess. I wasn't a bad student, but I never did math at recess.
And Dennis Flannigan.
Oh, hell, bells, who knows? How do we become a brighter America? How do we love and care about science? How do we, in a sense, imagine that we could multiply by quadruples and whatever it is, by whatever ways we can, square the root of whatever. It is interesting to me that we all want math scores, but we don't want to say that education is an absolute crisis. If this were a physical disaster, there would be triage. We would have people rushing to the site, imagining what in the world has to be done, taking those who are dead, those who are nearly dead, those who are possibly dead, and those who are doing pretty well, assign them tags on the end of their toes, and rush them around and figure out which ones we can save, which ones we can prosper with, and which ones we have to bury. That is the state of American education. And we don't find ourselves in crisis. We find politicians like me and like all of us in the room who will speak saying, oh my God, but we don't see a nation saying, oh my God. This is a country in absolute crisis. And it isn't just about the math scores, it is about reading scores. It is about our physical education. We no longer do push-ups or runs and jumps or whatever the heck they are. And in a sense, we've assigned the schools to fix every one of the problems that we have abandoned ourselves. We also talk about the family that used to be, and the family that used to be won't return again. We all might wish it would be 100 years old when we all lived on the farm and we had 41 children and 2 parents who went out there and plowed the field and fixed them all. We don't have that any longer. We have 13-year-old mothers who have daughters who turn 13 and have children. We have to have triage about the crisis in American education, and that means we all have to run to the same room and say, I'm here to help you.
Stan Barker.
I agree with my opponent, and he's absolutely correct. I learned some things as I traveled around the world, and T.A. Wilson taught me, he said, don't concentrate on problems, find solutions. When I went through Air Force Medical School, we did a lot of triage for the casualties coming back from Vietnam. We did the triage on the aircraft as it's flying back to the United States, trying to save the lives, as many as we could, but you have to prioritize because you couldn't save everybody. We have a definite need in this country to concentrate and focus on education. When we become like-minded, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever you might be, and we recognize for the good of our children that we need to come together with solutions and not just continuing the problems that we have. I believe that we need to keep our teachers accountable. We're paying a lot of money. You know, we always hear the need for more money. More money doesn't solve the problems. We're paying more money today than we were 10 years ago. We haven't solved the problems. We still have the need to address the problems. And the problem, a lot of it is in the home. You know, we want our teachers to be the parents. We want our teachers to teach our children everything. And while the parents are absentee, and I'm not going to get a horn this time, so I'm going to quit.
Thank you. Now, I'm willing to stay late and discuss math because I've got a presentation I've been doing. If any of you want to be educated on the topic of what's going on in math in our state, that's my little personal comment. And now, question 6, recess. Kids know that they need breaks from learning for unstructured play and exercise. Principals and school district administrators may know that too, but are compelled by legislation aimed at improving test scores and bolstering basic skills to reduce or eliminate regularly scheduled recess. State laws for underage workers require that businesses give 14 and 15-year-old workers a rest break of at least 10 minutes for every 2 hours worked. Would you support legislation aimed at school districts to make policies which require regular periods of supervised, unstructured recess breaks throughout the school day for children in public schools? And I'll start in the middle this time. Tami Green.
Well, when Tacoma was considering getting rid of recess, I actually was a new representative, and I came and testified that I thought that was a really bad idea. I'm a nurse. I know that I need breaks as an adult learner, and I really think it's really important for kids to get out and move around and have physical exercise. That being said, the last part of that question, I'm also a big believer in local control, and I think parents and school districts know what's best for their kids in their city, town, and we need to not mess up their local control stuff. I mean, I think if we do a good enough job of showing evidence in regards to kids needing to move around, people will usually come up with the right decision. There were a ton of people in that room when Tacoma was taking away recess that were there in the same mindedness that I was. This is not a really good idea. So I think we should have recess. I'm not sure we should mandate it. It should be a local control issue.
Troy Kelley.
I teach at the Jack School, it's the Army Law School, and we need recess there. So I think we definitely need it. There's not a question. Some of the specifics that Tami referred to are important in how we work it out. But one concern that I have as a parent, and I'm not sure if anyone else has kids in first grade or kindergarten here, but they have recess breaks, but our kids are not that exposed to videos, and they do use those during recess time. So I think we need to be more active, as you said. We need to be out there, and we need to work on that issue.
Rosa Franklin.
Thank you. Well, I went ballistic when I heard, and I was contacted that children were not having recess, especially, let's say, for the young children, for the elementary school children. It's very important. Here I am working on physical activity. Here I am working on preventative health. here I am, working on children, the nutrition, and here we are, working on sedentary sitting, meaning sitting all the time, and children not being able to get out and play on a regular basis. Well, I attended that right away. And so, after getting the information from the district itself of how they were administering the recess, I think some of it has gone back into play. And I think it's very important that children, especially the elementary school children, should have recess. If we have rest breaks, if we have lunch breaks, and when I see children running around school with lunches a lot of times in their hands and running from one class to the next, that drives me up a wall. They should have recess, yes.
Stan Barker.
Don't take my naps away from me, because I gotta have one every day. And I'm not wanting to take any recess away from kids. We have an obesity problem with our young people, and they need as much activity as they possibly can get. And so I totally agree, though, with Tami Green that you don't wanna take away the local control of the school boards, because that's the uniqueness of our system in America. And so I hesitate involving the state in another dictator piece of legislation that tells the school district how they have to function. I wouldn't say I wouldn't vote for it, but I wouldn't just automatically say, yeah, let's do that. I think the kids need the recess. I think the parents in the school district ought to rise up against the school district itself and get the recesses reinstated if they're taken away. Thank you.
Steve Kirby.
I didn't get another promotion this time. King of the world. My wife is, I'm on my best behavior here actually, because my wife is in the audience. She forbade me from saying the exact words that came out of my lips when I first read that the Tacoma School District was not going to have recess. That's just wacky. Between my wife and I, we have 5 kids. They range in age from 14 to 31. We've been there. We know a little bit about kids. And can you just imagine? I can't imagine making kids sit in a classroom for hour after hour after hour and not get up to have that little break away. It's maybe obesity would be improved if there was recess. Maybe when I think there was recess when the obesity problem happened. I don't know that that's the case, but I do know that kids need a break. Kids have to have a break. That's just wacky. And I'll never forget, my wife and I get up every morning and we watch Channel 13 news for about 3 hours.
Now you are bizarre.
And we make comments to the people there. They can't hear us, by the way. We feel a lot better. So yes, I would vote to mandate recess. I think I would rather vote. It depends on what bill is in front of us the last day. But and I think local control would work. But I can't imagine allowing some school board to be goofy enough to not allow recess. So there's part of me that wants to just mandate it, but I really don't like doing those kinds of things. I love that sound. I'm going to keep going until you just do the horn. There you go.
Dennis Flannigan.
Quit tooting your horn.
Steve Kirby is an example of too much recess. Steve and I are blessed to work in the same legislature, and many other legislators wish it were not true. Nevertheless, beating recess up again probably isn't required here. My view is that the state ought to stay the hell out of something that citizens and school boards have been able to figure out.
The school board in Tacoma, I'm sure, made a decision based on some things that they had to do. Citizens came down and said, I'd like to talk to you about that, and different decisions have been made. We pass enough junk to help school boards and school districts do the impossible without enough resources that I suspect we don't have to slide one more thing down this. And this is one of Steve's favorite, down the slippery slope. What's the rest of that, Steve?
Camel's nose
Camel's
under the
nose.
tent.
Camel nose
and
under the
have a
tent.
level playing field.
Right, so, I agree with Steve on all those words.
Okay. And Steve Conway.
I believe in recess, all right? But I also believe fundamentally that part of the issue why the Tacoma School District, I believe, got to where it did was the fact that they had all these other mandates coming down the legislature. And, that is the dilemma here. The legislature needs to recognize the importance of local control in making decisions. And I've been in the legislature now long enough to watch all the different mandates that have come out of both caucuses of both Republicans and Democrats. And, we have to be careful of that. Because, we do in our state believe in local control. And we need to make sure that, Tacoma's experience shows you the value of local control. The community parents got concerned, went to the school board, got it reversed. And to me, that's why I think we need to be very careful when we say we're going to vote for any kind of mandate. I believe that, what we want to do is make sure we provide our kids with the best opportunity for learning, and we need to make sure our school boards the school boards who share that commitment, we need to work closely with them on these issues.
All right, well, I think now we're going to take a brief recess, and we have some questions. So how are we going to, if the other candidates can get asked the questions as well, how should we arrange?
Why don't we just ask the other candidates?
It's them, the same question, we have questions from the audience.
No, but I think they could answer all of them.
We could go on.
We could do that, if anyone wants to leave, you're free to go. Especially those running unopposed. So we have questions from the audience.